I'm a retired thief who stole over £80,000 of items. Ask me anything. Were you ever caught? Was it for self-entertainment? Did you envision yourself as a Robin Hood? No, I was never caught, and as far as I know I don't think I ever will be. Good question. It started when I was living in a very bad apartment in a terrible area. However, it's very addicting due to the crazy high you got from doing it. I've never experienced anything like it since. Not in the slightest. Hate to say it, but it was all for personal gain. What's your best suggestions for protecting yourself from burglars? I've got quite a few. Laminated windows. They will stop many burglars in their tracks. Way too loud and difficult to get into a home. There's also this type of glass that when it shatters is extremely loud. But that won't stop some burglars. People like to think dogs stop burglars. They don't. Usually. No one wants a dangerous dog in their house, so 9/10 times the dog won't do anything. However, nosy neighbors and neighborhood watch actually help stop burglars. If I have someone constantly looking at me as I scout house when I'm jogging, I won't do it. They can easily ID me in the future. If you see someone who is hanging about in your neighborhood, especially a quiet one, don't be afraid to call the police or at least tell him to move on. Most burglars want no confrontation. Let me know if you wanna hear more or if you wanna know what attracts burglars. What do you do for a living now? This may cause people to laugh or be concerned. I'm an estate agent. Yeah, I know. How ironic. If someone was caught stealing your stuff, would you want them to go to jail? Very good question. I do not think what I did was right. I used to like to think that was my only option, but obviously it wasn't. I'm going to say yes, but I think sentences should vary. I would never advise anyone to do what I did. However, I do not regret my actions. Do you live better now? Yes, thankfully. Although my last robbery was committed when I was living better. That was my closest call as well, and that kind of woke me up and I realized I had to stop. Thief is a bland word. Jewelry thief? Pickpocket? Hit and run? Very true. I was more of a cat burglar. However, I have robbed 2 jewelries. I never wanted to come across or hurt anyone. When did you realize you needed or wanted to stop stealing? Also, a bit of a silly question, but I do sometimes wonder about this. I have a lot of exotic pets, including large, and yes, dangerous, snakes. I have a sign at my door that says something along the lines of "Beware of a snake" with a picture of a large snake showing its teeth. I have it up there as a joke, but I'm curious, would you break into a house if you saw that? Good question times 2. I was financially ready to stop, but the high I got from robbing was addicting, as well as the fact I was good at it. Like a classic movie, my last robbery was my closest to being caught. Just as I hopped the fence, I saw a police car off a car's reflection. The street was a T-shape going downhill and the bottom was a dead end both ways. However, along the T was a long ditch and on the other side of that was a stretch of road with houses. I managed to run left and leaped into the ditch quick enough before the police got to the bottom of the road. I ran about 2 miles to my car and realized then that was way too close for comfort. 20 more seconds and I was nicked. Hard to say. For some people, yes, due to phobias. However, someone would realize presumably they are all kept in cages and have no chance of harming me. But I doubt many people with half a brain would try and steal an animal. Did you ever encounter anyone in your burglaries? If so, what did you do? Very rarely. I think in the whole time I was doing this it happened twice. One of the times the person didn't even realize since they had some kind of noise cancelling headphones. The other person told their husband to get a gun. I believe the second one was a bluff, but nonetheless I was scared and left at the speed of light. My goal was never to harm or get seen by anyone. I'm not a violent person and have never harmed anyone in my robberies. Did you work alone? Did you ever feel guilty towards the people you robbed, and why not? Assuming that you robbed empty houses. When you were there, did you just look quickly for valuable items or found some time to snoop around? Yes, I worked alone and never told anybody about what I did. The perfect crime isn't perfect as soon as it leaves your mouth. Less mouths the better. I never felt guilty during the periods I was committing these robberies. I think because I had standards. Never robbed anything related to children or wedding rings, etc. I would sometimes make sure no children even lived in some houses, but that's very difficult to do. Today however I do feel quite guilty but do not regret, and I try not to ponder on it. When actually committing the robbery I was in and out ASAP. I tried to aim for 5 to 7 minutes. However, thesis timing can vary. Sometimes I could stay longer. £80,000? How did you lift it? Ahahaha. All in the legs. What did you use the money on? The money I got was obviously all spaced out. It's not like I did one big heist and got 80 grand. However, majority was used to save up and move and other things to improve my life. Genuinely, if I didn't do this bad thing I wouldn't be where I am today in a stable job that I actually enjoy. Is everything past the statute of limitations? Or is there still a date on your calendar for the final sigh of relief? Assuming UK has a statute of limitations. That does not exist in the UK as far as I know. I rather not say exact dates, but it's been long enough now that I suspect no one's on my case or can tie multiple robberies to me. I've also wondered if one day I should go to a police station and just confess out of pure curiosity. Why did you do it? Do you regret stealing and being a thief? What were the craziest items you ever stole? Obviously I know now it wasn't my only option, but due my terrible living situation standard I thought it was. I don't regret it because as effed up as it sounds it put me on the right track. I also never stole children's items or wedding rings and other stuff like that. However, I do feel regret and feeling bad about what I did on some occasions. I stole an antique statue. Had no value whatsoever. I knew it didn't. Even before the robbery. But I still don't know why I stole it. Now I would just like to know, would you be interested in getting a partner and coming out of retirement lol? But I would like to know the answer to that question. Why or why not, and what you did is very interesting. Is there any skills from your burglaring you still use today? Also, what connections did you have? Did you have a middleman to sort out jewelry? And lastly, what was the closest you ever were to being caught? And what was your scariest experience while robbing someone's home? I will never go back into it. I don't regret what I did, but I don't advise anyone doing it at all. I have a stable good job now, so I don't need to rob anymore. Plus the high is way too addicting and I don't wanna go to prison. The risk is way too high to be worth it anymore. Besides advising people on home security, I guess the one skill that comes in handy is picklocking. Not that often, but it is useful now and again. Also, I guess I became very fit during the time as I would jog around a lot of neighborhoods. I had not many connections besides the middleman to offload items to. He was a proper crook, so I knew he wouldn't snitch, let alone get caught. However, I haven't seen or talked to the guy since I've been out the game. I haven't had many close encounters, to be honest. I had a woman upstairs who heard the window smash and shout husband's name, get the gun. I'm almost certain it was a bluff due to the way she said it and how long I scouted the house. But I don't wanna come in contact, let alone harm or get killed by anyone. Is it enough? How did you plan on stopping? Why not go for 100 grand? The money I stole was over a long period of time. It was plenty enough to get my life on track and improve my living situation. I never really planned on stopping until I moved. But my robberies kept delaying me from actually moving. Until I nearly got caught. That's when I decided I have to stop. £80,000 is round about what I made. It's most likely more, as that's how much I actually made. The middleman, aka the fence, give you a lot less than the item is actually valued. So I don't exactly know how much I actually made. But anyway, after nearly getting caught and kinda waking up and realizing I don't need to do it anymore made me stop. The risk was not worth it anymore. What makes a thief retire? Not many do. Many are caught because many are dumb and don't plan. Not to sound like I'm proud what I did or that I'm smart, but I was good at what I did. That's why I retired on my own free will. Some criminals retire due to ageism, like myself realize the risk is not worth it. Sometimes this just comes one day when you wake up, or an experience that nearly got you killed or caught. Did you ever keep what you stole for personal use, instead of selling it? I won't lie, it crossed my mind, but no. It could be used to tie me to the robbery, so I never took anything home. I have a few questions. What was your biggest haul in terms of monetary value? Did you have boundaries? Did you ever regret stealing certain things or stealing from certain people? Good questions. I found a signet ring that ended up being worth around £8,000. However, I got paid £6,000 for it, which is actually better than what I usually would. So that plus the other valuable was probably a haul of about 8 or 9 grand. Yes. Never stole wedding rings, family photos, anything that I knew was like that and couldn't be replaced through insurance. I also never stole from children's rooms. As far as I know, I never stole anything incredibly personal. Of course, everything in the house or shop is personal to some degree, so I don't feel awful about what it stole. I just feel awful about the fact I did it. What was the least expensive thing you've stolen? A purse that contained a few coins. In the heat of the moment, I just saw it and grabbed it. How much does finding a CCTV camera at your target house discourage you from robbing from that house? Even if you think the camera doesn't work, but you have no way to tell for sure. Honestly, not that much. I hid any distinct features about myself and wore a mask, but I still has to be cautious and aware. CCTV will prevent some burglars though, so it's not like you shouldn't have it. It also may be used as evidence. Do you snoop and search news or try to hear about the homes you just robbed? Like what the people's reactions are. How did they feel about being robbed? Obviously no one wants to get robbed, but did you check on them still? Very good question. At the time of me committing these robberies, no. But after I tried to look up a few, but I felt so embarrassed and disgusted in myself I couldn't read anymore. What was it like? A high like no other. Never experienced anything like it. How did you get past alarms? I'm in the States and most houses shops have alarms that alert the police within 30 seconds of breaking a window or picking a locked door. You'll be surprised that a lot of the houses don't have many security features, and if they do are rarely up to date. I can research online about how to disable them. Sometimes it's not even needed because I'll be in and out very fast. But I advise people get modern security alarms, or at least have a sign saying they have one. Because new modern alarms are a lot harder to actually disable. To disable a lot of alarm systems, it's as simple, if I recall correctly, as disconnecting the backup battery and also removing the transformer for that device from the wall outlet. Some work with just pulling a single plug. Most older alarm systems also take a few minutes to contact police if at all, so I have enough time to disconnect it. That's all folks. Thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Kitos.